Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
All right, guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. So happy to have you here. Humbled. We've got a great guest today, Joshua Roosen. Thanks for coming on, my brother.
Austin, thanks for having me, man. Excited to share some value with your audience here.
So I'm going to give a little quick bio, not too much because we're going to dive into your story. Basically, Josh he's the education coordinator for Jake and Gino, multifamily and more group, not multifamily group, which is my favorite group in real estate. Humble, the greatest people to be around. I've been to a couple of their events. You can't go wrong. So, Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? You're invested in a bunch of multifamilies. You've done single family rentals, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my journey in entrepreneurship starts at a young age. In 8th grade, I had an aunt who's in real estate. She gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I really read it. It planted a seed, but I don't think I was at an age where I was really receptive to that message. But still, it definitely put something within me there. So I go to high school and I get really into working out. I love my biology class. And I'm like, all right, look, a good career path would be a physician, being a doctor. So you go to undergrad. I'm a pre-professional biology major, chemistry minor, and I'm working for an orthopedic surgeon. And, you know, it's summer before senior year. I actually just invested in an MCAT course and studying for that. He comes home one day and he's like, don't do it. You're crazy. I wouldn't let my kids do it. And I'm just so confused. So we dive deeper into that conversation. And he's like, look, in the 90s, I used to make 7 figures a year. Now I'm lucky if I make half that. And so I'm sitting here thinking, this guy's complaining about making $500,000 a year. Like, what in the world? The rich people problems, right? And he's like, no, you really don't get it. He's like, how much debt do you have from undergrad? And at the time I had 70 grand. He's like, look, you're going to take out more debt for grad school. Your loans are going to accrue interest throughout residency and fellowship. And on top of that, by the time you get out, I predict physician reimbursements are going to be between $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And so he's like, look, you're going to live in a 1-bedroom apartment for a decade just to get out from under that debt. So that was a real crossroads in my life. And that's when he was like, going to entrepreneurship, I do better for my investments than I do being a doctor.
Mm-hmm. My dad's actually a dentist, and I remember that he didn't pay off his student loans till 39, and he was making pretty damn good money. So, I mean, I get that that's not the route that you would think. Most people would say. It's a funny story, and why I resonate with that. At 17 years old, I even called this guy 4 months ago, actually. My best friend's dad at the time handed me a book in his backyard in Houston, Texas. I remember it. And he handed me that book and he said, hey, I think you're a little different. You don't seem to be loving school. Here's this book. It's meant for you. And it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Changed my life. Same thing. 17 years old.
Yeah, that book definitely has had a lot of impact on a lot of people early on in their journey. And it really starts retraining you to start thinking different, right? To have assets that produce cash flow working for you rather than trading time for money. So definitely at that point, I was all in on building a business, but I didn't know what. So I moved home and I didn't have a lot of capital. And I was like, what can I do to build a business? And I was floated around a few different ideas. I thought about a car detailing company or home healthcare and ended up landing on home healthcare. So 6 months in, I went to Starbucks. I went to Panera every day. I had a website. I had business cards, brochures, LLCs, the Google Voice number. But I hadn't generated a penny in revenue, right? I didn't know the difference between activity and accomplishment. And so my parents, were like, what the heck, Josh, what are you doing? This whole thing's a pipe dream. You got to get a job or we're going to kick you out. So I'm like, oh man, things are going from bad to worse, right? I grew up in Michigan. So 6 months after graduating, you're coming on the winter time. And I had less than $1,000 in my name. I had a car with 250,000 miles on it. It was in a real rough spot. So we go to Thanksgiving at my aunt's house, the one who gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in my circle, she was definitely one of the more successful people. So she's over here talking to me about, Josh, have you thought about real estate? And I'm in a tough spot. I'm like, all right, well, are you going to, kind of put me up if I start trying to build this real estate business over here? And she's like, nah, I can't do it. So I continue down the rabbit hole of real estate, and I end up finding a real estate investing education company. And I'm like, holy crap, I can get a job here. They encourage entrepreneurship. So being an entrepreneur within what they teach. And it's an awesome city, San Diego. And I was like, I can get paid while building my business. I was like, this is an absolute home run. So I took the leap to San Diego to start building my real estate investing career.
How old are you at the time?
So that was 4.5 years ago.
And how old are you now?
Yeah, 30.
30. So have you ever been, had you ever been to California?
I'd been to San Diego, loved the area. It was a beautiful place to live.
It's not like you're going, and I apologize ahead of time for anybody who lives in the state. It's not like you're going from Michigan to Nebraska. It's San Diego. I love it. We've had a bunch of Airbnbs there. It's gorgeous. So there's a little bit of, I don't really know what I'm getting into, but hey, at least it'll be awesome.
Yeah, you're spot on, right? I was like, I'm moving to an awesome place where I love and I take vacations to, and I get a job that's going to allow me to help build my business. I was like, this is a win-win-win. Well, lo and behold, I get there, and it's a great company, don't get me wrong, but I end up climbing the corporate ladder and kind of putting my dreams on hold. And I got to a point where I was doing very, very well, and I was buying turnkey rentals with the money I was making. But I hit a point where I was at a ceiling financially. I couldn't trade any more time for money. I was working 65, 70 hours a week, high stress, high pressure. And San Diego, while beautiful, the taxes are very high, and so is the cost of living. So it wasn't the best way to get wealth. It really would have been a long journey to hit financial independence there.
But I want to make sure, because you told me before we started, you were making $300,000. I mean, this is when people, especially young kids that I help in real estate, this is what they dream of. I mean, 300K, you're raising the roof. You feel like, you feel like you made it, but people need to understand that what you define success as, meaning freedom, something that fulfills you up, is way more important than a dollar amount. And I think if you focus on, like you said, trading time for money, you're never really going to be happy. I don't think ever.
Yeah, 100%. And I also thrive off progress, right? And so to be at a ceiling financially and kind of capped in my mid-20s there was very scary. And then also just the amount of stress and pressure there, building someone else's business and just always being under the microscope. It wasn't the vehicle I wanted to create wealth, and it wasn't getting me there fast enough. So I started looking elsewhere of what could I do to get there quicker. And at the time I had a good buddy, and we're like, look, we're in sales. Let's open a sales training company. Yeah. And so he went to the best person he knew, Grant Cardone, to help him with that. So he invested $7,500 for 1 hour one-on-one with Grant, flew to Miami, and said, hey, Grant, what would you do if you're my age? I want to build sales training. He goes, son, don't do it. If I were you, I wish I would have gotten into multifamily real estate. I'd be a billionaire instead of a millionaire. The only question is how many times over. So for those of you who know Grant, he's an incredibly bold dude. It's a bold statement too, but he's got the credibility to back it up. So he flew from from Miami back to San Diego, and we were all excited about this multifamily vehicle. So we met with the owner of the company we were working with. And independently, he said the same thing. I wish I would have skipped residential and went straight to commercial. At that point, we were all in on multifamily real estate investing.
And just so we know, because I interview him probably at the end of the month, he's my guy too. That's Dylan Marr, right?
Yeah, Dylan Marma. Yep, good
Dylan
dude.
Marma, sorry, last name. Young kid too, and y'all are just, I want to stick there for a minute because I know that I've changed a lot in the last couple of years, especially. But I think if you would have put $300K in my pocket, I would have banged it out for a little while. I would have kept working, but I always use myself on this podcast because I can context me. I want to put context on me. I got laid off about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago from my day job, and you can be frustrated, but you can also think that it's a blessing, and it was already coming, right? I was already kind of building my own companies, and there is something to be said to not carry somebody else's message. When you wake up every day, you don't have to answer to somebody else because it didn't matter how much you made from that job. I don't think that owner, I'm sure he was a great guy. I don't think he was ever going to be happy, right? So you're always under that microscope, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, especially in a sales role, right? It's always performance, 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 do more, be more, things like that. And it really, I was out of whack in my balance, right? And although I was doing well, it was just the amount that I was giving and trading to get there. There had to been a better way to do it.
So he flies to Miami, meets Grant Cardone. You're like, what's this thing called multifamily? And then you're all pumped. And then what's the next road from there?
Yeah, so we were all in. We went to what we call podcast and YouTube university, finding anything we could to start reading books on multifamily investing, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube, and learning. And then through that, my boss's boss had Jake and Gino's book, Wheelbarrow Profits, on their desk or on his desk. And if it was good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Ordered it, read it, and then my friend Dylan read it as well. And actually, he reached out to Jake and Gino. It's like, hey guys, look, I'll help you grow and scale the education side of your business. I'm in a real estate education company now. If you teach me how to invest, and they weren't really in a position or looking to take someone on at the time, so they turned him down. And actually, he was so committed to getting into multifamily investing that he quit his job, went full time in multifamily real estate, and moved to Atlanta. So while he's doing that, these guys actually call back. And they're like, hey, look, we're actually thinking about taking someone on. Are you still available? And he was like, I'm not sure I can do it, but I know someone would be a good fit. And so then now I get put at this point where it's like, man, this is an opportunity. I wasn't really seeking it out, but I'm at a real crossroads in my life. What do I do?
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just a big commitment, right? I pretty much move with the wind. I've moved a lot, and I've taken opportunities, but talk about where you're at mentally to like you said, you told me before the call, you went from making 300,000 to 50,000. I mean, that's not you moved to the Southeast. It's a lot cheaper, but I mean, that's a massive pay cut. So what are you telling yourself on a day-to-day basis to be okay with that move, to see the long game, as I would say, and not be tied to a dollar amount, which
Austin,
is what the podcast is about.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have, and I still have, a John Maxwell leadership coach that I work with. And through this, we were kind of working out loud the different routes and what was there, and playing the two scenarios over and over. What was scarier was the certainty of outcomes, staying where I was at, right? Knowing that fate is destined, where if I took a leap to be able to learn from these guys and add value to them, I could bet on me in building this business. And I know that I'm a massive action taker, and I know the results are proven. And at that point, I knew who they were as people, right? Their ethics and integrity, their values. So it was scarier, the certainty of outcome, than it was taking a leap. And I knew that obviously with their business, it was early on in the education space. As I grew and scale it, right, there was more opportunity for me to move up the totem pole as well. But it was a temporary setback in order to kind of one step back for two steps forward, right? And mm-hmm. That's when we be able to grow and scale here as well.
And so at this time, you have rentals in California, and when you move to the southeast of this country, or where were your rentals?
Yeah, so I was buying I had one in my hometown. It was a house I had bought before I moved to San Diego, turned that out. And then I was buying them through turnkey companies. So Memphis Invest, Jacksonville Wealth Builders. And that was the part that was really slow in the wealth building progress over there when I was in California. Save up $30,000 in order to have a couple $100s a month in passive income. It took a while to save 30 grand, right? Even though I was making good money, and I needed a lot of those at a couple hundred a month to become financially independent. And
I don't, in me, I did the same way. I bought 3 single families, Airbnbs, all that stuff. I don't think it's a bad way to get started. Definitely training wheels and everything. But I think if you see the writing on the wall, especially when you get around, multifamily education, you see how limited you are. If a renter doesn't pay or something breaks, or and it really is. I mean, you can get really wealthy that way. Don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot. It's a lot of work, I think, and people don't understand that multifamily. What I love about multifamily, and we'll get into it later on in the call, is it's such a family investing sport. That's what I think is so exciting to me.
Yeah, well, let's dive into that now, right? What
Sure.
was the appeal of multifamily? So one, it's scalability, right? Rather than having 10 single family homes dispersed all throughout town, if you have 10 of them under one roof, that's one roof you have to replace every so many years. And with economies of scale, you can start affording things like a property manager on site, a maintenance guy, right? Almost a self-sustaining ecosystem. The other thing is if you study the demographic trends, we're becoming a renter nation. I read a stat the other day, it's a quarter of millennials will never own a home. So there's a strong demand for multifamily real estate. The next thing is if you look at the single families, I would buy those things and it's the value is based on the comps. And so with multifamily, it's based on the net operating income largely. You can force that up and you can do the refi and roll, right? There's more control over what's going on there. There was just, and it's a quicker way to get wealth faster. So I like that it was, they're valued on the income approach as well. So there's a lot more there going on that I liked.
And why we talk, I want to sit here for quite a while about multifamily. I want to make sure that the listeners get the most value because I'm going to tell you my story. I actually told it today to another friend I was talking to, a young kid. True story. Evan, me and Evan are really good friends and we talk and we didn't get to hook up when he was in Costa Rica and he says, hey, look, come up to Nashville. Jake and Gino are having an event. I said, well, hell yeah, let's go. So I have 3 single families, own an Airbnb company, so on and so on. But I've been intrigued about multifamily, learning a little bit. And I go to this event and I will tell you that event changed my whole perspective. And I basically but I love to talk to multifamily investors this more because there's just such a camaraderie and such a team sport. And everybody's so nice and they want to help and, nobody's trying to hurt each other. And like all the guys that we met that were showing us the properties, Dave, and then the other guys, just such a pleasurable thing. And you start seeing the writing on the wall. So when you get these guys in there, I've met some of your success stories, they're ex-pilots, they had a 9-to-5, so on and so on. What are you seeing on the education side? What is the light bulb that's coming on when you're teaching them? Because you all as a company have very strict, like, this is the box we live in and we don't go outside that. And I think it's a great discipline to have.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. I mean, as a whole, we take the motto education times action equals results, right? So you need to get educated. That way you have the knowledge and the confidence to go out there and implement. And that way, not like me when I was trying to build out that home healthcare company, you're taking the right steps in the right order rather than spinning your wheels. And then from there, it's having an ecosystem, and like you said, one that sees the value in collaboration over competition. A lot of students do deals together, right? So surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals that are learning from the same systems and tools and on the same path makes it really easy to do. Because if you look at outside of our circle, I'm sure there's a lot of our friends that went to high school with that aren't doing stuff like this. And it takes discipline, dedication to make this happen. So if you can surround yourself with those that are putting in the work and then consistently see the results that other students are getting, it's going to keep you motivated, right? So we have boot camps, we have money mixers, which you attended one with us at, one-on-one coaching, we own a loan brokerage, we own our property management arm. So we're able to, it's almost like a franchise-like model, right? Take a proven system and implement that in your business. And then the other thing is it's a system, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs get trapped in the solopreneur gig where they've built the job. And this is something that you can infinitely scale. And that's what you want here. It's a proven business model.
100%. And for me in my early investing career, that was me. I wanted to do everything and I was getting places, but I wasn't going as fast as I wanted to. And what you have to understand, guys, as a new investor, just because you haven't bought a place, right? Like just because you haven't, this is what I'm trying to impart on people. Let's say that you've never invested on anything and you don't know how you're going to get started. If you were to bring, let's just say, I don't know how you got it, but it happens. Let's say where you were to bring a 85 unit to Josh and his team. You could say, listen, I'm going to forego, the wholesale fee. And I want to learn, give me equity or something, and this is how you add value to a bigger operator. I'm sure that happens from time to time for y'all, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's exactly how I got here, right? I didn't pay to play. I seek to serve, right? I had a skill set that was of value to these guys. And in fact, the more I could seek to serve and the more successful the education side became, the more they'd invest in me. And it was a win-win-win.
And so you went from moving over there, you're gaining the education. You had what, one house at this time or two?
So with the houses, so I had a small single family home portfolio of 5 homes, and I went and liquidated all of those. So I had a little bit of cash. And then it took me, probably late 2017, we started educating. It was late 2018 before we got our first deal. And so during that time, I'm sitting on a small war chest of capital. So I got a little bit of the shiny object syndrome, and I bought an Airbnb in St. Augustine.
Yes.
I'm not mad about it, but I was like, this money was burning a hole in my pocket, and thank God I didn't go buy a Ferrari or something. I bought an investment, but I did that. And then now I have 3 other apartment complexes in the portfolio as well.
And how many total units as we sit right here today?
328. So it's
328. And you're a partner with other people in those deals?
Oh, absolutely. Right. I don't have the net worth or liquidity to take those down myself. And thankfully, I've been surrounded by like-minded individuals that I've been able to add value to. And like you said, rather than trying to find the whole piece of the pie, that collaboration and the whole pie, getting a piece of it, it's helped me progress tremendously.
100%. And guys, when you can strip away ego from this stuff, like the thing is what I realized, and I'm sure you feel the same way. And like, I'll bring up Mike, right? Your Mike Trevelli, the amazing CPA spreadsheet guy. I don't want to do any of those things. And my business partner does all those things. And it wasn't until I'm sure you teamed up with this amazing team that specializes in certain things that you were to feel even more complete as an investor. And, you don't need to control the whole process, guys. Like, you can learn as you go. And, I think that you would get a lot more value in teaming up with somebody on a 50 unit than buying a single family residence, and if you had 10% of it or 20% of it, that's a way to learn from the inside out. Because, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I think that mindset and just feeling confident is 90% of the job. I don't think, these guys that buy these units, I mean, yeah, they probably know what they're doing, but not 100%. I mean, Jake and Gino didn't know what they were doing when they got started.
Yeah, they failed forward. In fact, no one I know was born with units, not many people, and nobody was born with that knowledge, right? So you have to have a growth mindset over a fixed mindset, meaning if someone else can do it, I can do it, right? So that's a very big thing too.
1,000%. And so, what has been, you make this big change, you take the pay cut. What is that journey like the last couple of years on, basically you had an idea of what it was going to be, I guess, when you walk into something, and then there's the reality of it. What has been exciting, what has been, more fulfilling than you even thought. And then would you change anything?
Yeah, so I joined these guys March 6, 2018. That's when I moved from San Diego to St. Augustine, Florida, down by Gino. And now I currently live in Knoxville. But when I moved here, just because I was a part of a large scale education company, I realized, because I saw the inner workings, it was hard to reverse engineer it. But all those challenges, to me, they're opportunity, right, is growth. And, one thing that I've had to learn is I always thought as soon as we can get some revenue to have other employees and coworkers, that this business will run itself so much smoother. But what I had learned was, being a leader is a challenge in itself, and I have to grow to be the leader needed this company has. And that's something I'm constantly working on. Another thing I've realized is I constantly try to grind out problems, meaning I try to take them on as much as I can. And my ability to replicate other leaders and people to do things even better than I can is what's really needed to grow this. So I need to instead, rather than grind out the problems, I need to do them, document, and then delegate. And that's what really creates for a successful organization. And we're getting there, right? We're learning. And all that to me is progressing as a human. And that's really what I seek. And then the other thing is the community, like you mentioned, like the outcome that you're able to impact on people's lives. We're not selling sugar water, right? I'm not Coca-Cola. I'm selling financial education. And I truly believe there's a lack of it, right? There's so many Americans are paycheck to paycheck. And if they knew how to budget and save for them and buy assets instead of liabilities, then they'd be so much further off ahead. But these things aren't taught in school, unfortunately.
Yeah. And as you're saying that out loud, I'm thinking to myself, like, Dude, how great would it have been? I'm just thinking because I was a terrible student because I didn't care. How great would it have been for freshman class, like multifamily investing, like high school? That would have been so great. I probably would have I would have been like, this is the greatest class ever. I don't even care about anything else. Like, but maybe, down the road, maybe that's something that we get into. And I know that's something that y'all, you're imparting. I talked to, he said to say hello, Nick Shevlin.
Yeah.
We talked to him today. He's in my multifamily and more. He's a buddy of mine. He said to say hello. And so like the thing is like, it's hard to put my hand on it because I spent 20 years in hospitality. It's almost like because y'all are who you are as a group, as a teaching community, you attract the people that are just as amazing as y'all, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, because
Austin,
you know what I'm
that's a
saying?
good point. Yeah, so 100%. One thing that attracted me here is if you look at Jake, Gino, their social media, you don't see fancy cars, things like that, right? And there's nothing wrong with having the ability to buy those things, but it's ultimately what's not most important to these guys, right? They value time with their family, and they define success and being financially independent is doing what you want with who you want when you want. And really, I think that should be the goal, because my goal is not to have X amount of dollars coming in monthly and then just vacation the rest of my life. I like a lot of my happiness is derived from my discipline and dedication to my goals, and really the impact I can make on this earth and something that's going to outlive me.
Yeah, agreed. And I want to drill down because you live that multifamily world. This is something that's very important to me, and I'm trying to spread the message so everybody I almost want to make a bumper sticker. I feel like a lot of people's goals are BS. And the reason I say that is I feel like they're goals for somebody else. And let me tell you what I mean. When you set a goal of let's say I'm going to buy 1,000 units this year, that's great. But like, do you buy 1,000 cash flowing units, right? And so I want people in the multifamily space to get away of just like talking on Instagram and Facebook how many units they have. That's great. But did you buy them right? Are they cash flowing? Do you have low occupancy? You get what I'm saying? Like, let's buy properties that matter because they're cash flowing and you're fixing them up. Let's not be focused so much on like, hey, I got 5,000 units or stuff like that. I think, I have a friend who's got 50 units, right? But he owns it himself. So like, what's the ROI for him cash flow wise when people have like, 2% of 100 unit, right? You get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, you're spot on. People sometimes chase these numbers, and really, let's say he's averaging 150 a month cash flow per 50 doors. That's $7,500 a month he's getting in income if that's what he's really getting. So I agree with you on that. And then the other thing is too, when you're buying on strong fundamentals, you're able to survive something like a downturn we're seeing now. Warren Buffett says when the tide goes out, you're going to see you swimming naked. And sometimes people do a deal just to do a deal rather than being patient, persistent, and willing to walk away. And in the long run, it's not a stable way to build.
100%. And let's stay there for a second because y'all have a very, I would say probably one of the more strict buying, boxes. And y'all don't rush and y'all buy what you buy. What we're seeing right now and what we're going to see over the next couple of years of the carnage through the virus and the shutdown of the economy for the last couple of weeks. We're going to see, I heard it at a conference in February, a multifamily conference. We're going to see syndicators that overpromised or bought wrong. And I don't think that y'all's company is going to have the same problems working through this downturn that other people are going to experience.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, right? There's people that are there that are chasing acquisition fees and they're paying yield, and they're buying on unrealistic expectations of 5% rent growth annually, right? Just because we experienced a big surge the last few years. And when you're conservative, right? And the market was tight a few months ago. It is hard to find a good deal, but sometimes that get their itis can be, the doom of someone, right?
100%. And I don't want you to give away all the secrets of your training because y'all got to sign up for that good stuff. But if you were to put your finger on, let's say, top three strategies for a new investor, the things that I think that's where everybody gets caught up in. They text me and they're like, what should I focus on? I've got shiny syndrome. Am I wholesaler? Am I multifamily? Am I Airbnb? And, Airbnb is like crack cocaine right now. I don't do Airbnb. And you're getting taught a lesson right now in this economy. What would you say for a new guy looking to get out of a W-2 job eventually? What is the top 3 things they need to focus on?
Yeah. So first, like you said, you got to get very clear on what niche of real estate you want to be into, because there is a bunch of different niches, and jumping around week to week or month to month isn't going to get you results. So let's say they happen to decide on multifamily. They have to know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. It could be very realistic that it could take a year or longer to get your first deal. And, just because it takes that time, the juice is definitely worth the squeeze. And then no one does this just to do one deal, right? Usually the second deals are around the corner. So let's say you've made that commitment, the battle you're up against. From there, you've got to get educated, right? This way you know what you're doing and you can execute. The next thing is start building a network. Start going to local RIAs. Start finding a group as someone who has the results you want, that like, and trust, and they've been able to replicate it with other students. And then either seek to serve or pay to play, right? Their time is their most valuable asset. And then from there, go in, right? So like you said, it's almost fall in love with your actions. And a good example here is, let's say I want to get shredded. I want a 6-pack. I want 8% body fat. Well, if I set the goal of 6 months, if I'm not under 8% body fat, and let's say I don't hit it, it's easy to get disappointed. But if I set the goal of action-based goals, meaning I'm going to hit the gym 5 days a week, right? I'm only going to have one cheat meal. I'm going to do cardio 3 days a week. I know it's not if, but when I'll have that 6-pack and under 8% body fat. So if you can fall in love with your actions, the outcome will come eventually. And we know whether it's 6 months or 16 months, again, that juice is worth the squeeze. And having that like-minded community to surround yourself with makes it easier, because it's easy to throw in the towel. And as a W-2 worker, you're used to trading time for money. So collecting a paycheck at the end of the week. So to work 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and possibly not have any results, that's a hard battle you're up against mentally.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you a story off the back of that, because I know you're on a juice cleanse right now. I read a book. It's probably one of my favorite books, called Kyle Cease, The Illusion of Money. And the reason that you don't have it is because you want it. And he talks about living life through intention and not goals. And what he was saying is, he went on a juice cleanse for 3 days. He stepped on the scale and he gained weight. And he threw that freaking scale across the room and broke it. And he said, wait, hold on. My intention walking into the juice cleanse was to feel good. Well, I feel good. Who cares what the weight is? And that's what he's saying, guys. What is your intention? Your intention is to learn, to grow your network. So, I've talked to multifamily guys. It's taken 2 years to get your first deal. And are you going to give up already? But that first deal could be a 300 unit. Like, you don't know, guys. Like, you don't know what's coming around the door. And what we're trying to tell you is the carnage from this virus. There's going to be many opportunities for many deals, that people that want to get out of it, or they're just tired of it, or they couldn't sell before this and now they want to sell. So if you're patient, these 2 years that all the education, true story, my assistant had been learning ClickFunnels and all this stuff like for the last couple of years, and podcasting, all this stuff. And I'm teaching him real estate investing right now. And he's like, hey, it's really odd that the last 2 years of all the stuff I've been learning, they're all coming together right now. Like, he's like, I feel like it's like 2 years of learning and like, boom, it's like dynamite, right? And it's so great to see something like that. And I'm sure that happens with students all the time, where it just clicks and they're like, oh, this is what you're talking about, when you can be making money sitting on your couch or out on the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Assets that produce cash flow. That's the goal.
It's the goal. So there's so much great podcast. There's so many great books they've wrote. There's so many avenues that people can look y'all up and find education. What are all those places that they can find all that stuff, all the great info that's out there?
Yeah, so check out our website, jakeandgino.com. We have a podcast, Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, my email's josh@jakeandgino.com. It's JAKEANDGINO. And I'll even put my cell phone number out there. So it's 865-320-0655. It's always good to connect with like-minded individuals. And hey, man, if I could impact someone and help change the outcome of their life, I mean, that's the goal, right? We're all in this together. So
1,000%. And I'm gonna say something, and you can send it back to the team, because I was holding the story for this podcast. when I started, so if you don't know me, I'm going to do a podcast about myself later on. People will find out all this stuff. But from 17 to 36, I've been in the restaurant business, chef, bartender, bar manager, own restaurant, the whole nine. And the first Bigger Pockets podcast I ever listened to was Jake and Gino. No bullshit.
No way.
Swear to God. It's crazy shit, right? And from that day, I never wanted to own a restaurant again. And I started focusing on real estate. And when I was in Nashville, I told Gino that, and he said, "Thank God I saved you like $1 million." but so it's I have a connection and an affiliation for y'all's group because, I love that restaurant background. It's where I come from. And to know that there's something else, I don't wish anything that's happening to people right now, especially in the hospitality, hotel, restaurant business, is terrible. But I am blessed that I have removed myself, and I do have assets that are paying the bills right now, even though I lost my job. And that's what we're looking to do for you guys. We're looking to show y'all ways to have that secondary income, that third stream of income. So make sure you go check out all their great stuff. I cannot recommend going to an event more. If there's any event that you go to this year in real estate, make sure it's a Jake and Gino event. They're top notch. Can't beat it. So, thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate it. And I wish y'all nothing but success.
Thank you, Austin.
You got it. And if you like this episode, make sure you share it, rate us and review us, and send it out to your friends. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.